Greetings. Right now we're going to talk to you about how to look through the next section of your DAR, which is the General Education section. So the General Education section is broken down into a number of goals, and the first one we're going to go over is Goal 1. When you leave the university, we want you to be able to communicate effectively. So in order for us to ensure that you've met that goal, you need to take classes under 3 different sub-requirements. The first one is English 100. There's no getting out of that. You are taking English 100. There is the option to test out if you have an English placement score of 595 or above, or if you are an international student, then you can take English 101. But other than that, pretty much you're taking English 100. I'm going to skip Goal 2 for a moment and go down to Goal 3. Or not, sorry, these aren't the goals, these are the sub-goals. And here we want advanced communication, and that's English 200. Same thing, you have to take it. There are no choices in those two. If we go to the second sub-goal, communication, speaking, and listening, you can choose from one of these courses, which are basically the first semester of a foreign language course, or Intro to Communication Studies, or Intro to Business and Professional Communication. Now, the one thing that you have to know here is that there are some colleges, once you decide to choose a major, there are some colleges that have specific requirements. So, for example, if you want to go into education, if you want to go and be a teacher, you must take COMS 101. That is a requirement for the Department of Public Instruction for Wisconsin. If you want to be a business major and go to the College of Business and Economics, then you are required to take COM 116, which is Business and Professional Communication. Now, there are also a few majors out there that have requirements of one of these. So you can choose any one, but just know that if you choose, for instance, to take COM 101 and then you end up in business, you will likely have to take COM 116 as well. So that's it for Goal 1. Let's move to Goal 2. So Goal 2, we have demonstrate knowledge of past and present human endeavors. And there are 2 different sections in this one. The first one is Social and Behavioral Sciences. Now note that you have to take 2 courses from here, and they must be taken from different disciplinary prefixes. In other words, even though there are 2 econ classes here, you can't take 2 econ classes in order to fulfill this requirement. They have to be from 2 different areas. Other than that, you can pretty much take anything that's on this list. So if you are taking History 100, the only thing you can't take are these other history courses. The Humanities and Fine Arts is the next section, and again, same rules apply. You have to take 2 courses, and both those courses must be taken from different disciplines. So you can't take Art 100 and Art 310. But you can take Art 100 and then something else in the other areas. So these are pretty straightforward subdivisions of this goal. And that takes us through Goal 2. Now we're going to go to Goal 3, which is applying scientific principles to the natural world. We have 3 sections in here. We have math, scientific investigation, and the sciences. The first thing you need to know is that scientific investigation, you'll see it's followed by SL. That means science lab. So this is a science that has a lab to it, versus just the S is a science without a lab. So let's start at the top with math. And in math, you need to, again, be thinking about what your major might eventually be. So for example, probably one of the best courses to take that is overall accepted is Math 146, which is college algebra. And if you take that course, then that will generally set you off on being able to complete math requirements in most of the other areas. If you are planning on doing any major that has to do with science or math in any way, Math 146 is a great place to start, assuming that that's where you've tested. Math 146 is a great place to start, assuming that's where you've tested. Math 126 does not lead you to another course. That's an ending course. So if your major requires absolutely no math, then that's a course that you can take. But if your major does require some math, then that's not really going to get you in the direction you need to be going. Finally, there are some areas that require specific ones. So for instance, Psych 201 is a requirement for psychology majors. In fact, only psychology majors can take this course. There are other courses where stats, which might be Math 216 or Math 226, where that's required. So it's important to know kind of an idea of where you're going before you take these classes. And if you have absolutely no idea, then your best bet is probably Math 146. So let's move on to scientific investigation, which is a science lab. So for instance, you can take Biology 100, which is an intro biology course. But if you're interested in biology as a major, then you want to take Biology 150, which is for majors in the biological sciences area. So you want to make sure that you're taking the correct class. If you know that you don't want to be a biology major and you don't want to be a science major, then you probably don't want to take Biology 150 by mistake. So you want to take a look and see what each of these courses stands for. Who takes these particular courses. One thing that it's important to note down at the bottom is that Geology 101 and 102, Physics 166 and 161, and Physics 156 and 151 need to be taken together in order to complete this requirement. Now, that does not mean that they need to be taken at the same time, but they do need to both be taken in order to hit this requirement. Otherwise, so if you just take Geology 101 or Physics 151 or Physics 161, it will fulfill this bottom requirement of sciences, but it won't fulfill the science lab requirement unless you take both. So you need to be aware of that in order to fulfill this, you have to take both. And then to fulfill the sciences courses, you just need to take any of these courses down here. The one thing that you need to know is that you cannot take a course that you took up here. So for instance, if you took Biology 100 up here, you cannot take Biology 101 down here. You have to take something else. If you take Chemistry 101 up here, you can't take Chemistry 100 down here, and so on and so forth. So those are the main things to know about this particular requirement. We're going to end this video here, and the next video we'll move on with Goal 4. Thanks.